Hey guys, good morning. Welcome into the show before the show. Let's see what we got here. Vic Faust, Lizzie Sparks, Joe Pro Joe. How you doing today, Lizzie?
I'm doing really well. You doing good? Besides
Yeah,
being busy? Yeah, doing all good. You survived yesterday?
I did. I survived and thrived. I'm tired today.
I bet. I bet you're more. Well, I think parents dropping their kid off to college is emotionally draining as it is physically
It
draining.
is. You know, it's emotionally, but it also reminded me that I haven't. It's like I think we're doing my counseling session with Lizzie Sparks.
Counseling with
as
Lizzie.
part of the show before the show. No, I mean, I'm there and it's like, here's the thing about life. A lot of times we have dreams.
Yes.
We have goals.
Yes.
Sometimes we know how to get there. Sometimes we don't. I've been at Mizzou a ton since I went to school there, played football there. I was a color commentator for Mizzou football for 3 years when I finished playing. My ex-wife and I got married, lived there for 2 years, visited my older daughters, but I didn't move my older daughter in.
Okay.
It was different when you go and move.
When you move them in,
but I'd never really walked campus until I started walking with my son. But the thing about it is, it's like, damn, it's like I started feeling like I haven't accomplished anything that I wanted to accomplish.
That you wanted to
like, my
accomplish.
life's been a failure. I'm serious. This is you asked for it.
But you're way too hard on yourself.
I'm an effing failure. No. So I'm like, so it was motivating because I'm not going to go sit in a corner. I'm like, well, shit, I got a lot to accomplish.
I got to move on then.
In the next 25, 30 years or whatever God gives me to live and breathe. No, it was good.
Put a fire under your belly then.
Thank God it wasn't hot. That's for sure. That was a nightmare.
I remember moving one of my kids in and it was so hot and the sweat just coming down their face. But I do get what you're saying. You think, okay, you had these goals and your dreams, but if you look at it, okay, you might not have done exactly what you've done, but parenting, you have arrived. Your kid is there and it's bittersweet, but that's a successful parent.
Parenting for me, everybody has their goals as parents. I've got mine, and I won't get on my gospel soapbox about faith in God. And from that standpoint,
we should get on it a little bit more than we do.
I've done everything I can from that standpoint.
Yeah, that's good. That's the most important thing, in my opinion, is we can do is not necessarily get them into Mizzou or Harvard, which is all great. I want my kids to go to college, but that we teach them about their faith, because that is something they will need forever and eternity.
I too.
Bendy said her parents graduated from Mizzou in 38.
Oh, dear God.
Yeah, she's guessing it was a lot different.
Awesome.
I'm guessing it was too. Yeah.
Guys,
just a little different.
We got another packed show today, too. There's a lot of good headlines, a lot of good topics, too. I'm also feeling like a failure because I can't get I used to have Billy Busch's phone number, and I don't know what happened to it. And I had his media contact, and I can't find that guy.
But
Billy's out doing national podcast, and he would do ours in a heartbeat.
He would.
I saw him at the gym 2 years ago, and I cannot find him.
If anybody
once again, I feel like a failure.
Well, I text him. I did. I have an old number, but I think it's old because he had texted me back before, and I didn't get a text back. So I wonder if these numbers changed anyway.
We'll talk about him in Bud Light.
Yeah, we will. So if anybody knows him, and I've been to the Busch mansion for a political campaign and met his family and all that out there at Grant's farm. And he's a super cool dude, but his number must have changed.
Yeah.
I mean, I really appreciated Billy Busch even more when they had their family housekeeper there that was like serving food at this political event. And they said nothing but nice things about them, about working for Billy Busch and his wife and their, I think, 6 children. And the kids all went up and hugged her. And I was like, gosh, these are some good people. Good people. And they were, kind of the same political bent as I was. And that's always helpful. So,
well, yeah.
That was great.
This is the show before the show. Appreciate you guys jumping in. Just like that. One of our viewers and a friend of mine. I don't know if I should say his name or not. If you give me permission, I'll give you compliments. Initials BH. He just gave me Billy's phone number.
Oh, yay. Yay.
Like that.
Yay.
Just like
that's great. See if you can get him on.
No, I am. I'm gonna.
This is beautiful. Beautiful. You know what? Your friends really like you. I mean, they do. They listen to the show and they text you during the show and all of that. And
no, I'm grateful.
You have some great friends.
Bobby Horvath. And if anybody needs to do anything with the money, Bobby's
great.
Bobby, how can I promote you?
Bobby has a great name.
You do so much. You do. He owns companies. He's a lender. Thanks, buddy.
That's so awesome. So awesome. There's somebody, I noticed that the listeners, if we ask them for anything, they can come up with the information really quick. And, we have our political opinions and everybody knows what they are, but it's like the listeners, they just want the truth. They want the truth. And fortunately or unfortunately, the truth is typically not ever on the left. And they just have some really good information. And our listeners are fun as heck. Fun, fun, fun. Love it. Love it. Good morning. Hey, Randy. Randy's there. And Bindi says, ask and you shall receive. Terry, Heather. There's Bobby. There he's on there. Annette.
I love Bobby.
That's one of our Chris G. Steam Fitter Chris is here for the pre-party. Yeah, our pre-party is kind of, fun. You just kind of see what we're doing before the show. There's a lot going on behind the scenes. And of course, Ben is here and Cindy and Kimberly. And thank you for the information yesterday, Kimberly. And Kurt and Karen and Troy and Paul and our other Karen. We have, this is really cool. We have 3 Karens on the line right now. And Trisha. See you later today, Trisha. And Angie and David and Derek. There's Derek. And
okay, I'm good. We can do the show before the show. We can get it started. We got a lot to get to. Hey guys, welcome to cancelthisshow.com. I'm Vic Faust with Lizzie Sparks and Projo. Projo feeling a little under the weather. That's what happens. You go down, you go to Florida, you start partying, you have yourself a good time, you get on a plane, you come back. You didn't take your vitamin C before you went, did you?
Totally worth it.
Listen to him. Totally worth it. As my grandpa used to say, you have to pay for your thrills.
Oh, yeah. Well,
you paid for your thrills.
That's for sure.
In one way or the other, I guess. I could see that. Jumping in to the show today. Appreciate you jumping in. Thursday podcast, August 17th. We're going to get to a lot, as we always do. I was just talking about news with Billy Busch and AB. I would have Bud Light bottles all over the place.
Me too. Me too.
As best as possible. Also, Rasmussen Poll out, Fox News Poll out. The Trump train continues to roll as numbers get even higher. I did find interesting, there's been a shakeup in the Rasmussen Poll. which is the more down the middle poll. When it comes to who's in second place, very fascinating. I guess we shouldn't be surprised, though. Biden saying creepy things again. The Washington governor, I don't even know how anybody could elect a man and keep him in office that's pushing forward a bill that allows sex changes without parental consent. Parents, if parents think that that's all right, you should not be a parent. Sorry. And more evidence of what police deal with every single day. Don't believe the thugs and the thugettes and the community leaders who try to tell you, oh, police are bad and they're always racing for their guns and their rifles. Yeah, another piece of evidence of what police deal with on a daily basis, and you have split-second decision to make up your mind on what you're going to do. Gotta love it. We'll get into all of that coming up. We've also got what else do we got? Oh, we've got Mark Schmitz coming in 10 minutes, father of Lance Corporal Jared Schmitz, who was murdered by a suicide bomber at the Kabul Airport. We'll get into all that. First, here we do. Share the show, like, subscribe. We just wanted to show you our advertisers really quick. We're setting up. Make sure everybody's in. Don't go anywhere. We're going to jump into these stories right now as soon as we get back, but please check out our partners.
House has the largest selection of solid wood with the hottest new styles. Real furniture that's built to last, like our solid bedrooms, living rooms, and dining from Kincaid. Our volume enables us to save you a lot of money, especially during our solid wood sale. Plus, get free financing, fast free delivery, and free in-home design. So for solid wood, sweet styles, and solid service since 1964, shop over 3 football fields of furniture at Carroll House, because you like nice things.
Hey guys, this is Dr. Mahesh Bhagway. I'm an orthopedic surgeon here in St. Louis for over the last 20 years. I went to Washington University. I got my medical degree at St. Louis University. From local high school athletes, college athletes, weekend warriors, injured workers, and even Cardinal baseball players, I've treated them all. Our practice strives to personalize care with every new patient being seen by me. To find me, contact my staff at drbagwe.com. That's DRBAGWE.com. Hopefully you don't need me, but if you do, you can find me now.
Jonathan, what does make Rockwood so special?
Rockwood, we carbonize it higher than anybody else does. So we're cooking out everything that produces ash, smoke, anything like that. It gives you a lot more control over the temperature, a lot more control over the fire, and it's 100% Missouri product.
All right, where can people get it?
It's at 100-plus locations around St. Louis, any Deerberg, Straub's, meat markets, wine and cheese stores, hardware stores, you name it, we're around St. Louis. Just check the website.
And good charcoal should be able to break apart in your hands like
absolutely,
Rockwood does,
yeah.
right?
If you can't break it apart by hand, it's not charcoal yet. It's still wood. They didn't do the job, so make sure it can break apart by hand.
All right, get your Rockwood charcoal.
Marco, wait. What? No response? Hi, I'm Curtis Barks with Complete Auto Body and Repair, offering full service and auto repair to St. Louis and St. Charles. We are looking for someone to say polo. That's right, we are hiring We Want You now. If you would like to work in a well-paying environment, then you owe it to yourself to stop by one of our 6 Complete Auto Body and Repair locations. Will you help me find that missing person? Please call me directly at 636-488-HIRE. That's right, 636-488-4473.
Dad, and service.
Oh yeah, and service.
He fixes cars.
Attention, anyone who served, lived, or worked at Marine Corps Base Camp Lejeune between 1953 and 1987. Camp Lejeune's drinking water was dangerously toxic, and base personnel and their families have since suffered cancer and other illnesses. If you or a loved one spent time at Camp Lejeune and were diagnosed with cancer, you may be eligible for significant compensation. Call the Driscoll firm now. Consultations are free, and you won't pay a fee unless we get you the money you deserve. 1-800-805-4800.
Hey guys, welcome to canceltheshow.com. I'm Vic Faust with Lizzie Sparks and Pro Joe. We're here Monday through Friday, 8 to 10 a.m. Central and all the time on our website, canceltheshow.com. We have fun here, lots of energy, infotainment when it comes to news headlines, politics, cancel culture, education, society, you name it, whatever's going on, we get to it. Just try to have some fun with you guys, share some time with you, and we grow by you. You guys jumping in on the podcast for our live listeners, even though most people listen when we're not live. You guys make the show, the ones that jump in. We appreciate your comments. We appreciate your leading us into good stories, things that are going on, sharing your station, sharing your situations as well. Also, if you guys have stories, interviews, things like that, let us know. We'll jump in. We'll do it. We're here for you guys, and we try to make the most of it as we can. Remember to like, subscribe, share the show. You can send us stars on Facebook. That helps us as well. The merchandise is coming very soon. Derek Prattgower, he'll talk more about that, give you an update from where we are there. Lizzie was asking me if I got through yesterday, dropped off a college son. Many of us do that. Daughter had already been there. One more son. This son lived with me full time, so it was like, it was hard, but you drop it off. But I did. Here's a picture from the dorm room yesterday. And by the way, he thinks he got screwed. That's Drake. He's on the other side of campus, like way far away. I didn't even know these dorms existed. Like way far, way far away. So I was like, dude, it's for a reason. You have to look at it that way. It's like, you never know who you're going to meet. You never know why, where you'll be here. Trust me, I've tried to deal with these things as well, but a lot of fun doing that, dropping them off. And the only thing that really went wrong, he forgot his remote for a little TV. Mm-hmm. And then we went and got a remote, and then he picked up the wrong one. Oh. So they're going to have to go do that and take care of that. Dad's out. I'm out. So anyway, that was fun to do yesterday. Yeah, bittersweet. You deal with that. People have done that. It's part of life. You move on and you go through. So we'll go from there. I have no doubt that he'll do great whatever he wants to do. It was hard for him because he was a football player. Mm-hmm. So he had to decide between accepting Division II scholarships, which were the highest ones that he had received, playing quarterback, or going to Mizzou, going to business school and starting a business. So he thought he would go ahead and do that. So
good for him, but yeah. I'm sure that's bittersweet too.
It is. There was a goal to always play Division I football. Not everybody gets to do that. And especially in the day and age where there's still the COVID rules. There's still an extra COVID year where kids got an extra COVID year where you could be in school for 6 years. Yeah. And most of those quarterbacks take that. Plus you have the transfer rule now where kids are transferring all around. So it is super, super difficult. Yeah. Like last year in the St. Louis metropolitan area, there wasn't one quarterback that had a full scholarship throughout to a Division I school.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
it's
not like massively crazy.
Yeah.
So anyway, he did that. Everything happens for a reason. That was Drake. People asked me, did you show it? Yeah, I have it all over the social media. Okay, real quick story before we jump into the Billy Busch. Imagine this. Okay, Kelly Mano is probably going to be here tomorrow. I've got to message her to find out. She texted me last night. She's our friend, occasional co-host to the show. She owns Friday. She texted me yesterday and said, Vic, have you heard about this massive story? Apparently, it was the lead story on the CBS local affiliate in St. Louis last night. There's nobody to do driver's test anymore.
I heard that last night.
We talk about high school sports. There's referee shortages. Yeah. Because parents can suck and they get no respect. Same thing's going on with driver's test.
Because aren't a lot of them like state troopers who do the test?
St. Charles, No,
they're not?
Some are. Not everybody.
Okay.
I think most of them are either state troopers or police.
Police, that's what I thought. Yeah, and there's not enough of them to go around.
Yeah, my mom let her license expire, and she's going through trying to get it get it back, and it's been rough just trying to get an appointment to get the test.
St. Charles DMV, I don't know exactly which one Kelly was going to because there's a couple different places you can go to.
There is.
I know there's one out in O'Fallon and there's one in St. Charles City.
And one in like the Harvester area.
Yeah, I went to all three because my daughter failed twice and then my other son failed twice. So we're going all over the damn place. Well, that one's easier. Well, let's go to this one. Everybody knows what it's like to get a driver's license or at least try. Well, now they're not staffed enough and the lines are crazy. Kelly couldn't get in yesterday after 5 hours of being there.
Wow.
Couldn't take a test. So today, her and her daughter got in line at the St. Charles, that's in the St. Louis area for our national listeners, at 4:50 a.m.
Get out. Today?
People.
Oh, my gosh.
Bringing like cots, lawn chairs, like they're camping out for tickets for a concert or a movie or a sporting event. Mm-hmm. To take your freaking driver's test.
Yes, it is so crazy. I went to, just license my new used car and it expired for a little bit. I was one of those with a little bit expired tag because every time I went, it was a 5-hour wait and I don't have 5 hours to wait. I would make an appointment and still go there. I mean, it's finally licensed, but my husband had to take off and wait half of a day.
David says no lines in Baldwin.
Yeah, that's true. That's where he went. That's where he went.
Is
Yes.
that because everybody's left St. Louis County?
I think so. So my husband finally went and did it in Baldwin.
No.
Yeah.
Baldwin, no lines. Okay. And everybody in Baldwin's like, thanks, Dave.
Yeah. Thanks
for letting the cat out of the bag. There goes Baldwin's secret.
Yes. That's where you take your kid for a driver's test, too. All of it. Baldwin license, all of it. Nobody's
So are all
there.
the kids in St. Charles County? Is that because that's where everybody's moving?
I think so.
And
so, yeah.
4:50 this morning, she is just now, after almost 4 hours, well, 3 hours, 40 minutes.
God love her.
She's getting ready to take the test now. Kelly Mano let me know that via texting.
Wow.
To let us know that after getting in line at 4:50 this morning, they're finally getting ready to try to take the test. But hey, am I surprised? No, I'm not surprised at all. The thing that I guess I'm certain there's other industries or things like this. When you think about it, no, I'm not surprised that kids are having to wait that long. I guess I'm surprised that there's no lines in Baldwin. There's no lines in Jefferson County. And I guess people, you go to your local location, I guess, right?
Yeah. You can go to any of them. People think you have to go in the county in which you live, but you don't.
David said, Vic, they told me to tell people we don't have lines in Baldwin. Mark Schmitz joining us now. Mark, I don't know if you caught what we were talking about. We've got you here for other more important reasons, but one of our co-hosts, Kelly Mano, super popular on social media. She was letting me know. Tried to take her daughter to get a driver's test yesterday at the DMV. Waited over 4 hours. Could not get in. The lines were too long. They don't have enough people, so they had to go at 4:50 this morning to get in line. And now 4 hours later, they're getting ready to take the test.
Good grief!
You better freaking pass it.
That's right. That's right.
Talk about pressure and coming back in. But Kelly will be in tomorrow as long as I guess her daughter gets this license.
Yeah, if
and
not, she might be there again.
And she doesn't have to sit in another damn long line. But go figure. I know a lot of things in this world are falling apart. I never would have thought it would come to getting your damn driver's license at the DMV. So once again, I know it can be a thankless job. So hopefully people are respectful
I know
to those men and women who are giving the test.
Yeah, they're getting so abused.
Oh my gosh. Lots to get to. Had to get that out there. This is cancelthisshow.com. I'm Vic Faust with Lizzie Sparks. Pro Joe, of course, taking care of business. We got Mark Schmitz, friend of the show, in-house. Mark, good morning, man. Good to see you in studio. How's life treating you?
Well, this month is always a rough month, being the second anniversary of Liz and Jared back in Kabul. So
it was last week the 2-year anniversary?
No, it's coming up on the 26th. So last week, the 16th is when we actually entered Kabul, when Jared landed there. So he was there for 10 days until he was killed.
For those who don't know the story, because we are a national show, I know most people locally know Mark Schmitz, all the work that he has been out trying to do for his son, Jared Schmitz, who was murdered, and I'll say that, at the Kabul Airport in Afghanistan during our horrific embarrassment of a withdrawal. And then, of course, if that wasn't bad enough, the families were victimized a second time with untruths, as they will tell you, and all the families, lies, even 2 years later. Some of this was chronicled just a couple weeks ago. I saw a lot of it on Fox News, where there were some families, and you've certainly done your fair share of speaking over the years, Mark, talking about still to this date, over 2 years later, not only not getting answers, and all the families are saying the same thing, but now reports of Marines there who actually allegedly didn't die in the explosion, taken other places, and somehow unalived other places. Is that true too?
Yes. The Pentagon had told the vast majority of us that our kids died on impact. It was instant. And after testimony from some of the Marines that were there, in particular, Taylor Hoover, for example, was handing out his ammunition, his mags, to his brothers as he was laying there bleeding out. I believe it was Dylan Marola that actually made it to the triage, still alive and bleeding out. And they said he was killed instantly. So the autopsy reports, for example, all mentioned no mention of ball bearings. It was unidentifiable metal fragments. Well, after their mysterious imperfect investigation. The autopsies were, the report was changed and everything was screaming ball bearings. Well, now we have refuted evidence that from the Marines that were there was gunfire after the explosion. So this makes it a complex attack, not just a lone suicide bomber. And the Pentagon, of course, is doubling down and saying that never happened. Well, lo and behold, I have video from Afghans that were there that prove otherwise. So I'm actually flying back to D.C. on the 28th to sit at a round table on the 29th to go over some of this and demand the answers that we are rightfully owed. I think the American public, especially the veterans that served in this 20-year war, deserve to know as well. So we just don't get it. I mean, why the cover up? They're just trying to save the jobs of certain military higher ups, because there was a lot of screw ups, despite what Biden says, as it being an extraordinary success was an absolute joke. In particular, in our crosshairs right now is Whitehead, Lieutenant Colonel Whitehead. He's the one that could not give Tyler Vargas Andrews permission to take the bomber out. He was a sniper.
And he had a shot, as we know now,
yeah,
correct?
Numerous times, yeah. And he could not give him permission, left the tower to supposedly go get permission. Well, from my understanding, that never got to the generals. That never got to his higher-ups. So where the hell did he go? What was he doing? There was an opportunity for a drone strike, and the DOD denied that opportunity. Apparently, it was a gathering of ISIS that they could have taken out, which, in fact, this is a complex attack, which it certainly looks like it was, that may have prevented the post-blast shooting that was going on. So, I'm actually in the works right now. A lot of the parents kind of have their own little jobs in investigating this, but my connection is with the Afghans. I've been dealing with one in particular here locally, and he's very, very well connected with a lot of Afghans that are coming here. Still, some aren't here yet. I spoke to him last night. There was one that was injured in the blast too, and he's not here yet, but he's coming to St. Louis to live. So it'd be interesting to get to know him and talk to him more in more detail, but we're not going to stop. This is ridiculous that you're going to cover up a screw up versus protect those lives that are still serving our country right now. And that's what scares the hell out of us, is we got a leader that can't lead, and we've got military that are at risk every time that he's in office, every day that he's in office.
Mark, I'm curious, and I hope this is the case and it doesn't make it any easier, but do you feel more like this was just a massive screw up, or do you think something more sinister was at play?
I've heard theories on both. It certainly was a screw up. There's no doubt about it. I'm 100% convinced the debacle in Afghanistan actually started July 1, when Biden decided to ignore all of the officials that were relaying information to him on the pros and cons of staying at Bagram versus HKIA. And if you looked at the laundry list of the pros versus cons, HKIA lost all day long. I mean, there's no reason other than for the proximity of the diplomats that were there. That was the only positive or the only pro for using HKIA. But that only benefited the diplomats that we had there at the embassy. So that was mistake number one. That was the lead domino that knocked all the rest of them down leading up until the 26th. He had this date of September 11th is his magic date to get the hell out of there. And that's just absolutely ridiculous. That's straight up politics. That's a photo op moment. That's all that was. And it put the lives of our warriors at risk. And obviously 13 of them we lost, in addition to 170 or so Afghan lives.
What frustrates me about the whole situation is I don't know if you're ever going to get answers. And I think you know that, but that doesn't mean you're going to stop doing anything to promote Jared or promote the other Marines that went through what they did that day and the families that are going on. And anybody that's in the St. Louis metropolitan area should know you by now and what you try to do to help veterans, to help anything with the red, white, and blue, all led in regards to the effort through your son, Jared Schmitz. What do you have going on these days?
Well, this weekend, Saturday, is our second annual ride for Jared. Last year, we were unable to make it. I didn't organize it, but we were out of town for the obvious anniversary. This year, we wanted to make sure we were in town. So Saturday, we're doing a ride for Jared at noon in Troy, Missouri, and it's got 4 stops. I think we are up to an ungodly amount of vehicles this year, so that's awesome. We've already coordinated with the local police to help with escorts. And Bennett Family of Companies out of Joplin, Missouri was kind enough to loan us their 53-foot truck of patriotism. It's actually a semi that's fully wrapped with all 13 images, their names of the heroes we lost back in Kabul. So that'll be there leading the pack, which is going to really turn some heads on the highway, I'm sure.
And is this event that children can come to? One of my listeners is saying they want to know if it's child friendly since it's at bars.
Yeah, I mean, this isn't an event to go get sloshed. This is an event to throw some back, to cheers to our military, to our veteran communities, to Jared, to the rest of the 13 that we lost as well. You know, this is a patriotic event. My kids are going to be there. I've got plenty of other friends that are coming with their kids. So yeah, it's kid friendly for sure.
Mark, once again, how can people find out more information about that?
They can go to our website, www.thefreedom13.org.
2 years since that happened. What kind of emotions, thoughts? I mean, we're told that time can heal a lot, but at the same point in time, we also know that some things never change. Your feelings now coming up on an anniversary of this.
It doesn't get easier. It gets a little different. I think we've accepted the fact that we will never see Jared again until we get to heaven and see him there. But now it's, my level of pride from day one has only grown, and it continues to on a daily basis. I'm trying to do what I think Jared would want me to do, which is to carry on their legacy and help their brothers and sisters in all branches, all veterans across the board. And that's why we started the Freedom 13. There's days I grieve in private. There's days a song will come on the radio. I'm driving down the highway and I'm bawling like a baby. And then there's other days I'm just laughing and having a great time. So every day's different. The hurt never goes away. The hole that's there in your life can never be filled. It's just a balancing act at this point because I've got other kids, and they need my love and attention as well. So that's probably the most challenging part because I'm running 2 businesses plus a nonprofit, and trying to make sure that my daughters and my sons are doing okay on a daily basis becomes a challenge. But it's one that I'll never stop, and I look forward to doing every day.
Well, nobody knows what you're going through. It's impossible for anybody to know how you feel because everybody has their own personal relationships with their family members, even parents who've lost other loved ones. All we can say is we can imagine how you feel. I see you out working your ass off. As a matter of fact, I'm grateful for one of our show sponsors, Wenty's. Matter of fact, last time I saw you was at Wenty's. Mm-hmm. They're one of the and you have several. I mean, not just Wenty's. There's several organizations and bars and restaurants and businesses that try to help you. I just happened to be at Wenty's and I saw you there working your tail off, sweating. Literally not there sitting down relaxing. They're sweating, racing around, trying to raise money for all of your causes. I don't know. I'm just grateful that you give us time to come in and talk about what's going on.
Yeah, the guys at Wenty's are great. They've been in our top 3 donors out of the pub crawl that we have every year in February. Wenty's has been one of the top 3 donors in both years that we've held that. So that's another event that we do every year. But so stay tuned for that. But I'm sure Wenty's will be involved in that, and they're going to give you a run for your money for sure, because they definitely come hard.
Yeah, they do.
Do you have anything else, Lizzie, before we let them go? Or
well, there are so many people that is right around the St. Charles County area, St. Louis, as well as all around the nation that want to send you love, prayers. We don't understand how you feel, but we do back you. We do appreciate you, and your son's service was not in vain. We very much appreciate you.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
Thefreedom13.org. Once again, check out Mark Schmitz and thefreedom13.org. Before you go, can we throw you a shout out if you wanted to, from a business standpoint, what your other businesses are, and if people wanted to support those businesses, Mark?
Sure. I'm actually a professional photographer, videographer, and a drone pilot. I own the company Wide Eye, the letter I, Photo. So it's wideeyephoto.com. We specialize in real estate and architectural photography, but we do all sorts: marketing, products, etc. And then I also bought a existing business, which is like a food truck, but you take all the food off of it, and now you've got yourself a mobile bar. So we actually own a mobile bar business, and you can go to mobiledrinks.com for information on that. But we're the caterer for many, many corporate events, huge municipality events. I believe we are the biggest truck in the area for being an adult drink beverage catering company. So it's a fun side gig. And both of those businesses enable me to set up little packages to actually donate to our own nonprofit as well. So, it's a great way to do that. My wife has her own insurance company, so she owns her own business as well, Brightside Insurance. So she's always trying to come up with ways that they can donate back into the cause as well, too.
Mark Schmitz, thanks again for taking time with us today to promote the event. And please keep us in contact of everything that's going on. We'll pass along messages, and you're always welcome here.
Great. Thank you, sir.
All right. Thanks again, Mark Schmitz. We were just talking about everything that was going on with that situation. Support if you can. And those kind of things happen. You just try not to let them ever just be forgotten about. It's easy when it comes to all the craziness that happens in this world, the daily stories that continue to happen day after day after day. And then, of course, Mark Schmitz and his family doing everything that they can to make sure that Jared's memory and those of the 13 Marines never is forgotten. And, of course, trying to help out anybody and everybody they possibly can throughout this country with our red, white, and blue, promoting everything that we have from that standpoint. So anyway, this is cancelthisshow.com. We do interviews like that. We try to bring as much information as we possibly can out there. Lizzie is putting up are you putting up a flag? Is it? She's putting up a new flag too. We'll show it in a 2-shot. Oh yeah. Thanks, Joe. That's the Freedom 13 flag. As you can see, an outstanding flag, the stars, the stripes, the F-13, that goes on that 2-shot right there. We're grateful for Mark coming in and sharing a little bit about what's going on. It's a somber situation, especially, first of all, when something like that happens, a tragedy, but 2, when you can't get answers. It makes it even more difficult because you're always like, what if, what happened, what really did, what were the final moments of my son or my daughter? How did this actually occur? Why isn't my country telling me the truth? Why can't we get straight answers? Why is it just not me that believes this or thinks this, but it's all 13 families? Why don't the stories add up? Why does the president not care? Why is the president standing on a tarmac looking at his watch while our bodies of our loved ones are arriving? All of those things pull in to a mind of a parent that lost somebody.
Absolutely. And anytime, even if it's not tragic, like I know my dad died.
That was President Biden, by the way.
And when you die, you want answers and you cannot let it go. And when your child is fighting for the country, and it was absolutely an unnecessary death. I've talked to Mark, and I know you have before, and it is unnecessary that they died. So that has to hurt so much. And, and we put the flag up, and he brought it here, and he knew that I would put it up, and he knew that Vic would be happy to do so too. And that's a reminder for the rest of the month of August. I'm going to leave it up that these 13 did not die in vain, that we appreciate our military, that we have to support our military. And if you see anyone, and there are people that are more on the left side of the aisle that do not appreciate our military, and that's fine because it isn't fine. In my opinion, it isn't fine. But people like the 13 here that died for our freedoms are the reason that they can act rude to police officers and act rude to our military. But we freedom fighters, we patriots cannot do that. We cannot stay quiet. We have to keep talking. We have to keep honoring the 13 and all of our, our Vietnam veterans and all of our veterans. We have got to support them and never stop talking about it.
That's Lizzie Sparks. I'm Vic Faust, Projo here. We're cancelthisshow.com. Like, subscribe, share the show. You can go onto our website to find all of our platforms. Just continue to let people know what we do here. We appreciate it. If you have information, you have stories, you have interview ideas, let us know. If anything's happening with you on a daily basis, give us a shout out. We appreciate you being a part of our live show, which is Monday through Friday, 8 to 10 a.m. Central, but you can always catch it. And all of our episodes at cancelthisshow.com. We started, and it's kind of a weird mix when you go from a story like that to what we're going to now, but promoting what's happening. And there is hope. Even after losing $27 billion and falling out of the top 15 beers for Bud Light, Billy Busch, who started to make the rounds. First of all, he did an interview with TMZ, and I credit TMZ for interviewing him. Then he did a podcast with Tommy Lauren. And on Tommy's podcast said that he wants to buy back Bud Light.
I would love that. I would love it.
He has voluntarily offered to buy back Bud Light. He says it's clear that the young woke advertiser or the public relations team, young wokesters have no idea what they're doing. They don't know who their brand is. They don't know who they're selling to. I do know who we sold to. I do know where we can. I can rescue this brand if they would sell it back to me.
Yes, I would. And if he owned it, I would buy it. The other day, I went downstairs in my refrigerator, and we have an alcohol refrigerator. And we hadn't been
What is that?
Well, it's like we have a refrigerator that's just stocked with every kind of alcohol.
It's called the alcohol refrigerator.
It is. It is called the adult beverage refrigerator.
Stay out.
Yes. And so it's always stocked. So when people come over, of every different kind. But I haven't looked in it in a while because I've had different adult
Can you
children
take a
living
picture
down
and
there.
bring one in tomorrow? I want to see the alcohol refrigerator.
I absolutely
That's
would.
serious business.
It
right
is.
there,
It is.
having a whole refrigerator.
A whole refrigerator to alcohol. And one of my kids even one time said, "Mom, you don't even drink that much. Are you an alcoholic?" And I'm like, "No, just at the beginning of each summer, I stock it. And then at the end, just give it away or throw it away because we don't drink it. But we have a lot of friends that come over." Well, I didn't stock it this year because I had adult kids living in there and they were in and out of the refrigerator. And I looked in there and the only beer left in that refrigerator that I stocked last summer was Bud Light.
It's like the rest of the country.
Yes, I just thought that was so funny. My husband and I just laughed and he's like, "They're probably skunk beer now. We can't drink it." But he's like, "We did stock Bud Light prior to this. We did have it because we had a lot of friends, as long as it was in not the can, but in the bottle. We had a lot of friends that would drink Bud Light and it's just still sitting in there from last summer because nobody will drink it. But I will buy it if Billy Busch."
Will you please take a picture?
Yes, I will. I will take a picture. It's just, we stock it with everything every kind of beer, every kind of whatever, wine coolers, all that kind of stuff.
Well, I mean, Bud Light's already sold. I think it was last week we said 8 labels to a cannabis company, and just get out. Hey, why not sell it back if Billy Busch is serious? And Billy is.
Yeah.
I mean, Billy's had a lot of headlines, and he'll attack things. Think about how things change so fast. I believe it was 2009 when the Busch family sold Anheuser-Busch to InBev, a Brazilian company, right? I think it was a Brazilian company. And, it was fine for a while. I mean, the best ads were pre-2009, but anyway, I would love, and a lot of us would love to see that work out. And we all know, I mean, St. Louis is associated and will forever be associated with AB. It was a St. Louis brand, and a lot of people losing jobs, less hours, losing money because of what a dumbass young woman who was clueless tried to do. And I don't care if it had anything to do with ESG scores and BlackRock and all the conspiracy stuff. The bottom line is they made the mistake. They doubled down on it. They tripled down on it. They quadrupled down on it, which is why I doubt they would allow Billy Busch to come in and save the day.
I agree, because they don't want to admit they were wrong. And so many people would go back to buying that product, whether you liked it or not.
And a lot of people that I talk to say, well, it's really not that great of a product. And I'm not trying to be mean.
I know.
I'm just saying we just did it because it was like for vodka drinkers. A lot of people drink vodka. Just give me a Tito's and whatever, because it's like, yeah, whatever, Tito's.
At this point, it almost looks like they're purposely dragging that brand down.
It does. I'm with you.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I don't know if they would do it. That's why if I had to go out on the fence, I would say they're not going to sell it to Billy.
Correct.
Because he already said he would make the brand go back up.
It's such a traditional product. I think they're trying to get rid of everything traditional.
What do you mean? You mean anything American?
Anything that America holds near and dear to their heart, they're trying to destroy.
Bud Light, apple pie.
Right.
Chevrolet.
It really
apple
does
pie's next,
seem like
everybody.
Those things can happen. Anyway, Billy, regardless of what happens, I appreciate that he has come to the forefront to tell those stories. I haven't seen if any local news channels in the St. Louis area have done anything with them. They should be focusing on the bullshit that this company put out there in regards to what they did to it. So Billy's out saying, hey, let me have a shot. I'll do it. And he's a hustler. That guy's a hustler. I shared my story with him before when I was at one of my favorite places, Sportsman's in the Ladue area. I walk in to pick up lunch, and in a matter of 30 seconds, he's got me doing a taste test on beer. I'm like what, Billy? It's like I start to sweat because I'm worried I'm not going to choose this Craft Dig over what was I don't know what other product it was. Thankfully, I chose his Craft Dig product, and I was scared to death to give an answer. But he's that kind of guy. He is very charismatic. He's very well spoken, and he would take that brand back up in a heartbeat. He would apologize, and it would be a masterclass in advertising. It would be a masterclass in marketing. It would be a masterclass in how you go humble. When you make mistakes, apologize, be humble. The problem is the current AB InBev doesn't believe that they've made a mistake.
No, they don't.
Did it on purpose. They're continuing to push through. And Annette, I do agree with you. I liked Craft Dig as well.
Mm-hmm.
They had to overcome a lot of factors, as you learn with businesses. It's not easy. Trust me, I know running this business, it's not easy. That's why you just got to keep at it day after day after day. Anthony says, Craft Dig was all right. But that's why I don't think they'll sell it, because it would come back and it would make them look even worse.
It would.
And I don't know anything about AB InBev, but clearly they're not the kind of company that Anheuser-Busch was. Not the company that built the brand that they did. Not the company that bought into the St. Louis Cardinals. Not the company that became an iconic St. Louis brand, national brand, international brand. AB InBev has other plans, and I think it's clear to see what has happened from that standpoint. This is cancelthisshow.com. Did you see new polling? New polling.
Yes.
Trump is rocking and rolling, guys. I bet Trump he'd drink a Bud Light. Well, he doesn't drink.
He doesn't drink.
But if he drank, he would.
I think he would have a party and he would buy all the Bud Light and McDonald's all at the same time and invite us rednecks over, and we would be having such a great time if Billy Busch bought it back.
You know what? It makes me think, I can't remember, Joe, if I sent you the video or if it was Lizzie or if it was you a couple days ago of what was going on at Sturgis. Did we have that video anywhere?
Yeah.
Did you send that video?
I don't recall.
I did. Yeah. I send the video and I'll have to find it. But anyway, at Sturgis, a friend of mine was there and actually took a picture of it and it was packed and everybody was buying beer. But the Bud Light booth was empty. So if you can find that, Joe.
I thought I sent it to you, but I guess I didn't. But anyway, at Sturgis, wide open, nobody going to the Bud Light tents.
And the people were dejected, and they even said, is business picking up? And this cute, nice looking guy was like, oh yeah, it's picking up. But it wasn't. There wasn't a soul in it. And they had this huge area. Crickets. And Sturgis, it's just packed with people. And people that ride Harleys are not going to drink Bud Light anymore. They're just not. And it's sad for the employees. It really is. But I don't drink it anymore. And I just buy the pool and drink it.
Chris says, well, the former CIA employee whose AB CEO has doubled down and tried to only throw a bone after the controversy with their appeasement campaign. Correct. That's why they wouldn't sell it. That's why I think something sinister is at play. And while they're doing nothing, and they have just kind of slowly strangled it, left it.
Slowly.
No heartbeat left. Aaron says AB InBev outsourced everything other than just straight up brewing of beer. When they did, they lost the touch with the flyover country. Just ask their customer base. Yeah, which is what Billy was talking about. They literally lost, once again, their value. They lost who their customer base was. Anthony also says, maybe the Cards can switch to Yingling as a sponsor and actually win. Maybe go get pitching. Sorry, we won't turn it into a sports show too much today, but those are some of the things that are going on. But I mean, seriously, think about that. My daughter, she works at a bar in Columbia, Missouri. I saw her yesterday. We were up at Mizzou, and she's like, Dad, and it was funny how she said it. She's like, are you familiar with what's going on with Bud Light? I was like, honey, yeah. We've talked about it
every day.
No, we've talked about it a lot.
But your kids are not going to watch the show. I only have one of my kids that watch it religiously because it's like
my
awkward.
kids' friends watch the show.
Right. My kids' friends do. And only one of my kids, because they just don't like to watch.
I gave a cancel this hat, and a cancel this shirt to my son's. He's got 2 friends that love the show. They're sophomores in high school.
That's awesome.
And they were watching it from the time we were freshmen too, moving through it. And I was like, really? You like it? He's like, yeah, man, I listened to it in class. So I was like, oh, dear God. And
that's hysterical. That's hysterical. I love it. It's fun when your kids are like, my daughter worked at an ice cream stand and she's like, Mom, it got so old because people would come up and go, oh, Sparks, is Lizzie Sparks from Cancel This your mom? And she's like, yes.
So my daughter brought up the Bud Light. And so we talked about that for a little bit. My middle son and I were talking about the Bud Light situation. And I said, did you guys have an issue here in a college town too? Because Columbia, Missouri is like a lot of college towns. I mean, there's a lot of liberal leaning people.
Yeah.
And younger people. And we've talked about the younger base, whether they care, whether they don't care. Do they actually know facts? Is it peer pressure? Is it social media? And all of those things. And my daughter said, yeah, like the Bud Light totally went dead for a long time. But she's like, you know what, Dad, in the last week, she's like, we had more people ordering it. And I said, was it a specific few people? Do you know? Was it groups of people? And she's like, no, it was like, I think some regulars.
Okay.
That just, they like
they just like it.
And they like it. And they didn't care. She's like, but they started to sell a little bit more of it. We've done our own surveys around the area. Almost every place saw the dip and still sees the dip as we are into the middle of August right now with no end in sight for Bud Light. And of course, that story goes more full stream because of the situation that we have now with Billy Busch trying to offer to buy it all up. And it makes you think, okay, we'll see what we can get done there.
So thanks to David Sparks, he sent us pictures of that refrigerator.
Oh, we've got it already?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, let me set it back up for all of our listeners. This is the alcohol refrigerator. What do you guys call it? Just the alcohol fridge?
We call it the adult beverage refrigerator.
The adult beverage
refrigerator.
And you trust your kids not to go in there and do anything?
I let my kids, as long as they drink at home, they can drink out as long as they're like 16, 17 or older. Because it's not against the law.
Okay, where's the adult beverages refrigerator put?
It's downstairs. We have like a little apartment downstairs, and that's where it's at.
What kind of beer is that? Shock Top?
Yeah.
Is that Shock Top?
Yeah, we have a lot of Shock Top. But you can see there's some fall because I didn't restock it this year with the adults down there. So, but yeah, we like, Shock Top is, I think, an 8.
Is that beer from last year?
Yeah.
I want to see all the Bud Light that's left over.
Yeah, you'll see some Bud Light left over.
Okay, I gotcha. We got all kinds of beer. Now, do you guys have an actual bar too? Or
not really? No, we don't really have a bar, unfortunately. It's just like a little kitchen with a little family room and ping pong table and all that kind of stuff.
Aaron says, remember that college kids will buy whatever's the cheapest.
They will. They will.
And I remember that. Tranheiser is giving coupons for free butt wipe. Not surprised if it gets bought up in a college town. That makes sense. I get it. But there's one of the worst beers ever is this Busch Light crap stuff that's out there. And I'm just kidding.
I used to like Derek, but now I am in love with Derek. And when he comes in here in a bit,
Derek, come
in here, Derek. Just hop on in.
Derek drinks Bud Light.
Yeah.
Or excuse me, but no. Well, can we set him up on a shot before we?
Yeah.
I was teasing, but for whatever reason, the kids drink Busch Light. And when I say kids, I say high school kids, college kids, they drink. I'm just telling you, and I know it at least in the St. Louis metropolitan area because I've witnessed it for 3 years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can go over there.
For 3 freaking years. Busch Light was the choice, not Bud Light. It was Busch Light.
Yeah, I remember the Busch Light days. Coors Light. I like Coors Light too, and yeah,
because Busch Light tastes good. That's why.
Because see, now look at Derek. He makes an entrance anywhere he goes, and people will either love Derek like I do, or you might not so much because he walks around with shirts like that.
I actually have a pair of swimming trunks too.
Yeah, you do?
Yeah.
You do? Okay, yeah. I love it.
Aaron says Busch Light is the butt wipe leftovers. at the bottom of the barrel.
Well, I mean, if you know how we always used to do the acronyms back in the day. So if you think about it, the Busch, the Busch brand, it's brewed under several Clydesdale horses.
Oh my gosh, that's funny.
Of course.
So, that's funny.
You're Mr. Pool Guy
yes.
on TikTok, and you have done more for Busch Light and promoting that brand without getting paid or having a marketing contract or an advertising contract than anybody I've ever seen.
But think about it this way, Vic. The koozie that I use in every one of those shots. I have 2 of those koozies. The one is the regular Busch latte. For us, more astute drinkers, the Busch latte. But then you also have the John Deere corn one. Those are the 2 that I was just doing a test run on the koozies and everything. Which cheap plug here, we will have the Cancel This Koozies coming.
No, it's not a cheap plug. We're trying to promote it. We said you were going to be in studio to talk today.
We got things going on. Matter of fact, I was working on a little bit of things on the Shopify store last night. Along with Alex. But like you were saying in my TikTok videos, I've sold more of those things just from people asking where I got them from. So I guess, in a way, Busch Light's kind of.
But a serious question. You don't have any problem because you're against Bud Light 100%.
Okay. So
you have no issue drinking Busch Light.
It's not that I'm against Busch Light. Do I go with the BS that they're putting out there? All the movement that they're pushing. No, I don't agree with it at all. It's stupid. Why take a brand down the road to where you're destroying it like they are? As for, me personally, I understand that, the movement has made a huge difference on their sales and everything.
Well, I can tell you this much. My son, who's a freshman in college, said where he's been at parties and things, he's like, there is no Bud Light.
Oh, no.
I'm just telling you, I'm giving you it straight from the people themselves, the college kids and the high school kids going into college. They're not drinking Bud Light.
They're not drinking Bud Light. And if you look at it, they're not even drinking AB products.
Right, at all.
I mean,
really?
Busch Light, they are.
Well, I mean, those that are, I'm talking like the hardcore. I'm not with this at all. I mean, they're rejecting AB completely. But yeah, for some reason, Busch Light and even Busch has really made a huge impact. I don't know if you want to call it an impact, but it's actually risen. But I have a sister that lives on the East Coast. And so the Bud Select here in St. Louis, you get a 30 pack for, $18-19, depending if it's on sale. The Busch and Busch Light on the East Coast was like the premier beer.
Yeah. Well,
so you'd be paying more, here, Busch and Busch Light. Matter of fact, speaking of beer fridges, I have a beer machine at my house.
Oh, so you had to one up me.
No, I'm not one upping you, but
the only beer machine that I know is a keg.
Oh, no. I have an old Pepsi machine.
Oh, so you put cold beer in there. That's the best.
I have 3 of the 6 spots dedicated to.
Well, you need
Busch
to take
Light.
a picture and send it to us. So that we can,
I might even have a picture of my phone.
I love it.
We can see that.
Yeah.
I love
Derek Pratt is coming in. He'll be here during the 9 o'clock hour with us today. I got to race out to get some other things done from that standpoint. But before I did leave, if you got to bring a picture into that.
Yeah, he does.
I had to get this polling out. Rasmussen poll. They only polled about 230 people, but it's still down the middle polling. Trump 60% in the Republican primary. It goes up and up and up. But the big thing about this was Vivek Ramaswamy overtook Ron DeSantis. He had like 13. I mean, that's the set 13.
Yeah.
He was number.
I believe that.
Now, Ron DeSantis fans will be like, oh, they only did so many people. I can already hear it coming.
Yeah.
Or, you really can't trust Rasmussen. But DeSantis dropped to third, not second, third. And it's also interesting because Ramaswamy also is bringing in the highest, and this according to Fox and Rasmussen, the highest number of independent voters.
Wow.
Which was fascinating to me because he has also gone as far as to say you should not be allowed to vote no matter how old you are unless you pass a civics test.
I don't see a problem with that.
I don't see a problem with that.
And he's also the guy that just went viral for talking down a, quote, pansexual who tried to gotcha moment with a video camera shooting him from a tree. And he talks so eloquently saying, listen, you're going to come after me because I don't agree with you, but yet I'm the guy that's intolerant, is basically what he said over a 3-minute period. And he's the guy that has risen in the Rasmussen poll. Now, in the Fox News polling, they have him down in a third tier, where the second tier is still Ron DeSantis and Tim Scott, which I don't believe for 1 second. But anyway, this all polling coming out after the latest indictments, which have only, and I repeat, only put Trump into a much higher position yet again.
I'm just waiting for them to come out with the punch card, the indictment punch card. So if you get like 6 indictments, you get the 7th one.
Bingo!
For
right?
free.
Wouldn't that be great?
Wouldn't
that be great?
The Trump indictment card. Get 5 indictments, get your 6th one free.
Yes, that's pretty funny. And they're not going to stop. They're not going to stop giving indictments. They're not going to stop. They want that man behind bars.
Yeah,
period.
But they're helping him.
They are. They're helping for sure.
Well, I don't know if they want him behind bars. Yeah, of course they would love to see.
I think they do.
They don't want him to run.
Well, yeah, that's their biggest
because
thing.
None of this would
they want
be
him
happening,
to quit. You're exactly right.
If it was up to them.
Correct. Correct.
So the polling that you're going to continue to see, polling that comes out, I just found it fascinating that we had that coming out, that it was all about Trump, 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 Trump. He continues to move forward. And the other part that I felt was interesting with the Fox News polling, just for Republicans, is that Latinos that they polled heavier and heavier towards Trump and less towards Biden.
That's understandable.
And that's a fascinating topic, considering how much we talk about border. Now, I don't know who's taking their calls.
Right.
Are these legal Hispanics that are taking the calls? Probably.
Or is
they're probably not illegals that are running around, even though they have brand new cell phones, courtesy of Joe Biden and everything else. I don't know.
But could it be El Derico on the phone too?
Yeah, could it be?
There's times when I've taken I've taken those types of
what do you mean El Derico?
The Hispanic version of Derek.
Oh my God!
Believe me, there's been times where
because he pretends to be Hispanic and answers the phone.
It's one of those things. My dad was a big fun one with this. You'll get that spam phone call.
Yeah, and
my dad actually had his own spam persona. He named the guy Ralph Kamagachi. Don't ask me why, but it was hilarious. Whenever. And to the point where
what did Ralph Kamagachi do?
Ralph Kamagachi was a retired businessman worth millions of dollars.
Of course.
I mean, it was my dad's persona to screw it. And he would sit there on the phone for 30, 45 minutes. And then at the end of it, he'd just be like, gotcha.
Gotcha. That is pretty funny. That's pretty
Derek Pratt's in studio. Lizzie Sparks is here. I'm Vic Faust. We got Projo in the house. You guys got several topics to cover coming up. I mean, there's still a lot of things that Joe Biden had another creepy moment yesterday. We'll play that for you guys after the break. I sent that to Joe too. The guy can't get out of his own damn way.
He can't.
There's another group. If you guys want to get into it, there's a group suing the state of Washington's governor over a bill where he literally thinks it's okay for parents to let minors get sex changes without consent. You guys got to talk about that.
Oh, definitely.
Totally do.
And there's a police video that I sent Joe too regarding evidence of what police are going through on a daily basis. Yet again, this coming from Long Island, where an officer was able to use their car to stop a thugette this time. Once again, when police say they have guns drawn on them, you have to believe them, because we see more and more cases of this stuff happening over and over. And that's why I'm a big believer in video showing, because if you didn't have video, who knows what would have happened to the Connecticut female officer the other day, or this officer that would have had bullets shot through the windshield of his vehicle. And then, of course, the situation in St. Louis that we showed just 3 months ago, where an entire community of St. Louis City, including the community leader, swore to God this poor, good boy was such a good young man, never had any issues, would never point a cop at police. And then we have video of this man running from police, shooting at police, saying he never turned a gun at police. And that when police ran him over in a car, they were horrible, they were racist, blah, blah, blah. And then, of course, the video showed it was all a lie.
Yes.
It was all a lie. And most of the time, it is a lie. Every now and then, you do have a situation with police. Very small few, and we have statistics to prove it. Now, the more video that's shown, you start to see, you can't believe it when people are saying this. Where's the video? Let's go to it. Don't run, comply. Don't run, comply. Don't run, comply. Stop making excuses. Don't run, comply. And then you don't have any issues.
It's interesting how those video receipts kind of come back and bite them, huh?
Yep.
Well, it's starting to, and that's why, I mean, I love to see it because, and regardless of the whole situation with George Floyd and people not liking it or thinking it's fake or real and all the other conspiracy theories out there, you know what? At least we had video to see what happened. So it was easier to accept that officer for many people because you had video of seeing what actually happened. That's why I'm a big believer guy. Got to have the video. Guys, I got to jump out of here, but we'll be back with an awesome show for the 9 o'clock hour. And of course, wanted to promote Kelly Mano tomorrow. Is Eric coming in again? Do we have Eric?
Yes. Eric, I believe he's coming in. I will remind him, but he wants to come in with Kelly.
Okay. Kelly Mano. We'll get into more of that driver's license debacle. I don't know if you heard us earlier.
I did. As a matter of fact,
we'll talk about it more.
I was listening to on the way over here.
She had to get in line at 4:50 this morning with lawn chairs. Literally, when they open the gates, kids like sprint out of their cars and race in to get in line in St. Charles County.
Wow.
But we were told if you go to Baldwin or Jefferson County, there's no lines at the DMV. You can go in and test for your license.
There's very few actual driver's portions, places there. My daughter's turning 15 tomorrow, and she's really excited to take her test to get her permit. And I believe she's going to be taking it down in the Pacific area. So, yeah, find those outlier areas. I mean, even if you have to drive down to Rolla, I mean, it's only an hour drive away. Why not?
To Rolla?
Why not?
Okay, I guess I would never do that. But I guess if it was a 4-hour wait.
Got to wait 4 hours. Might as well take the 1 hour drive.
Might as well take the 1 hour drive. Guys, we'll take a quick break. Check out our sponsors, our advertisers. We appreciate it. Continue to support cancelthisshow.com. It is Thursday, August 17th. Back in just 2.5 minutes with more of cancelthisshow.com.
And now it's here, the unveiling of the latest Carroll House lifestyle collections. I'm Brooke with my sister Amy, inviting you to see 3 football fields of the latest styles.
Our new lifestyle collections are premium quality furniture made exclusively for us and available only at Carroll House.
The attention to detail is unmatched, and so is the value, nearly half the price of a typical gallery store.
Plus, get free financing, delivery, and in-home design. Carroll House, because you like nice things.
Marco, wait. What? No response? Hi, I'm Curtis Sparks with Complete Auto Body and Repair, offering full service and auto repair to St. Louis and St. Charles. We are looking for someone to say polo. That's right, we are hiring. We want you now. If you would like to work in a well-paying environment, then you owe it to yourself to stop by one of our 6 Complete Auto Body and Repair locations. Will you help me find that missing person? Please call me directly at 636-488-HIRE. That's right, 636-488-4473.
Dad, and service.
Oh yeah, and service.
He fixed the car.
Kathy O. Big Strick, owner of Experienced Real Estate Partners with eXp, has been one of St. Louis, Missouri's highest selling groups for 26 years running. In that time, Kathy and her team have successfully assisted an incredible 4,000 families. So if you're thinking about buying, building, or selling, be sure to put Kathy's group and their experience to work for you, and you can expect to be moved. Just give her a call at 314-276-SOLD. That's 314-276-7653, or find her online at experience-re.com.
As all of you may know, the home of the Cancel This studio is located at the all-inclusive private jet hangar, Strategic Air Services. Founded in Chesterfield, Missouri, they take pride in offering a meticulous approach to private aviation through services that fully manage your trip from takeoff to landing. Strategic Air Services is more than just storage for your aircraft. They offer state-of-the-art amenities to its members and guests. When you are not traveling, you have the luxury of enjoying their world-class gym, conference rooms, lounges, and so much more. Strategic Air Services offers an unparalleled luxury experience for all things private aviation. If you're looking for a new place to call home for your aircraft, give them a call today at 636-400-7601. Again, that's 636-400-7601, or visit their website at strategicairservices.net.
Winty's in the Chesterfield Valley, if you don't know, is a family-owned business that has been around since 1994, serving some of the best chicken wings in town, no joke. Also known for their fresh burgers, pizza, and incredible smoked meat. Top-notch happy hour specials are included, plus live music every Friday and Saturday. Oh yeah, you can also enjoy their spacious heated covered patio. It's Winty's in the Chesterfield Valley, 18,000 Chesterfield Airport Road.
Good morning, everybody. Well, Vic Faust had to step out. He's doing business things for the show. So I am Vic right now. I'm really Lizzie Sparks, but I am playing the role of Vic at the moment. But I have two really great patriots in here with me. I have Derek Pratt, who is a friend of the show, and he's here quite often. And he's our merch guy. And as you can tell from his shirt, Derek, did you make that shirt?
No. This is a purchased one.
But like I said earlier, if you didn't hear the first hour, I love Derek, but now I think I'm in love with Derek. Look at his shirt. Anybody that's that bold and that big of a badass to wear a Trump shirt is my guy. I love it. And we also are here, and I'm very excited about this. The Wolf of Washington is here, and we're going to talk to him a little bit, and you can feel free to chime in. As you know, we are part of a network called Renew Media, and we are starting new shows starting this week. We had an earlier show this week, and if you've not heard that show, it's called Uncensored in Smithville, and I was her guest. Christine Bunch, she has a show, and it's basically a local show about Smithville, Missouri. But the funny thing about it is by the end of the show, she learned that her little town of Smithville is part of the whole world order, and BlackRock and First Key and all of that are buying up her little town. So she's more fired up than ever. So if you would like to listen to that podcast, right now she has it just on Spotify, but our awesome producer, Pro Joe, has put it all to video, and for soon that'll be up as well, because her podcast was only audio. Now she's here with Renew Media, and so she will have a video. And so, Derek, we have a lot of things to talk about, but I think we should probably talk about the star of the show here right now, Wesley.
I'm definitely not the star of the show. We'll definitely.
Wesley's the star of the show. And so Wesley is another person that's going to eventually be part of the network, but he has his own standalone show, and it's going to premiere this evening, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Could you tell us a little bit about it?
So it's myself and Gianna Taylor. We're going to be hosting a show to where, for us, we want to make it socially acceptable. For decades now, they've slowly taken away your opportunity to have educated conversations with individuals by making it to where family gatherings, bars, you can't talk about politics. So what we want is the younger generation to step back into politics, because that's what's ultimately going to save this country. It's not going to be my parents' age and older that is going to save this country anymore. The younger generation needs to step up, and they need to do their part, which is why I ran for United States Congress, which is why I studied constitutional law, which is why I retired from the Army. I did my part to defend this country, and I'm going to continue to do that. And I'm hoping our show will gather so much young listeners that we can flip it on its head and make it to where I could go sit at a bar and have a drink with my friends, and we can talk about politics and religion,
Correct.
Which I think is the most crucial part of us saving this nation. I mean, we have to open it up. We have to open the doors up so people can do that.
Wesley, how old are you? That way we can get an idea.
I'm 20. I'm 28 years old. I served in the Army.
You're a baby.
I served in the Army for 8 years. Right. Actually, with your last guest, I actually knew Ryan Naus. I served with Ryan Naus over in Afghanistan.
So he was one of the 13?
He was one of the 13. Yeah. He was the special operations soldier that passed away.
Wow.
With PSYOPs. Yeah. I served with him in Afghanistan 17-18.
Thank you so much for your service.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Absolutely. And we proudly are going to have the flag up at least. I mean, of course, we love the American flag, but we need to not ever forget the 13.
Oh, definitely.
Absolutely.
And all the rest of them that came before the 13 that
absolutely
laid down their life, the unseen generation or untalked about generation, the Vietnam guys. These are the older folks right now. These are the flag bearers that are slowly dying off because they're at that age group. And it's nice to see a fresh face like Wesley here that is coming up as a young conservative and military veteran that, is saying, hey, listen, like you said, the things that we can't talk about, even at family gatherings, at bars, anywhere, you can't talk about politics. You can't talk about religion. You can't talk. You dang near can't talk about anything without somebody
being offended.
And you know what? It's fine to be offended. You have the right. You have the right to be offended.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have the right to care.
Right. Exactly. And when I grew up, I was taught not to talk about my religion and not to talk about politics. And that's what got us in this situation at all, because the nice people sat down, didn't try to offend anyone, and now we're in this awful shape. But then back, I would say like 2011, 12, 13, people got bold. We started talking about it again, and it was very beneficial. And that's how Trump got elected, because the normal independents, the normal business owners, we all wanted somebody that would put America first. But then because of that, all the powers that be, corporations, politicians, pastors, everybody just wanted us to shut up, because it shakes up the way they live. It shakes up their normal way of politicking, as I'm calling it. So now we're in big, big trouble again.
So it screws up the status quo.
And that's
Correct.
exactly what Trump did. Trump did that for America,
Yes.
and he stood up strong. And I believe he did such a phenomenal job that I'm actually really worried about 2024.
I am too.
I'm worried that, you got to remember, he has 119 indictments. The odds of him having a smooth sailing through the campaign cycle, it's not going to happen.
Correct.
And they've purposely placed the trials of each indictment to where he literally will miss out on every single campaign finance deadline that he needed to make, right? He won't be able to go to the major Republican or conservative caucus events because of the fact that he's going to be in trial. They took 2.5 years to investigate January 6th just to rush a trial in 4 months.
Oh, don't forget. And we're getting rid of documents. We're getting rid of it.
Yes.
And they want to place his federal trial first, right? Then they're going to go to New York. Then he's going to go to Florida. And now he's going to go to Georgia for trial. He's not going to have time to campaign at all. And that's their plan. It's to get rid of Trump by not allowing him to campaign. Exactly. So that way Biden can be forced back into office. And it really comes down to the bureaucracies in the deep state. And one thing that a lot of people don't point out is, who is the deep state?
Right. Who is the deep state? Right. We have our theories.
They're probably staring right at us.
Yeah,
they're probably watching us. And we know that we often get shadow banned when we talk about certain topics. But the good news is our live show often gets shadow banned.
Yeah.
And what happens is then people do listen to it later, because our FB will glitch. Our YouTube went down for 7 or 8 days. And it's always when we talk about the deep state, the whole world order, or the thing that they put in our arms. Well, not my arms. I didn't do it.
Me neither.
But yeah, there was no way I was doing it. And the interesting thing about that is, you were just talking about what they're going to do to Trump all these many days. Tell me what you think about this, Wesley. I think that they did it in Georgia on purpose. Do you know about that? Where it's in Georgia, if he does get convicted of this, him or any of the 19 that get convicted, they have to spend 5 years, period, where that wouldn't happen in some other states. They have to spend 5 years, and they cannot be pardoned by a president. So say if DeSantis or, Tim Scott or whoever get elected, they can't pardon him in Georgia. I don't know that for a fact. I've looked it up. It seems to be true. I've heard it from professors. I've heard it from other politicians. And so some really good conservatives are like, oh, I can't vote for Trump now because he's going to go to jail. What do you think about that?
So he's not going to go to jail. That's the first thing. No matter what happens, he won't go to jail. However, that is absolutely true, because they're charging him with crimes in Georgia. Correct. And they're not federal crimes. So a president only has power to pardon those with federal crimes.
Charges. Correct.
So they absolutely, it's 100% correct. He would technically have to stay there in Georgia no matter what the circumstances were.
Correct.
Yeah. But the problem is they're not going to get away with it. And actually, my campaign manager was Raleigh Runner. I'm sure you've seen him all over the news.
Yeah, I see him all over.
I was with him just when he got arrested by the FBI. I was with him at court, and I was with him at court on Tuesday.
Oh, right? Wow. Okay.
So,
okay.
That was the first appearance in front of the DC judge, was on Tuesday.
Wow.
So it's just a ploy. It's political prosecution.
Yeah.
Well, political persecution through prosecution
Yes,
is what it is.
exactly.
When you can't stop someone who's so powerful, and Trump is powerful.
Yes.
His words travel the whole nation.
Yes.
And if you can't stop them, prosecute them.
Right. If you can't stop them, then ruin them, try to bankrupt them, which is going to be really hard to do, but try to take all of his money, literally try to, what you said earlier, keep him tied up. And the thing of it is, and we talked about this earlier, Vic talked about this earlier, I don't know that I totally believe in polls. However, the polls are showing his numbers were going from 49%, now that he's 60%. And I do believe that. I don't know anyone that is not still liking Trump, except for the people who didn't like him already.
Yeah, I mean, he hasn't lost anyone.
Correct.
However, I do think that he is losing the younger generation.
I agree.
And we're flopping over to Vivek, maybe because we can relate better with him.
Yes, I can understand that.
And I think Vivek's a great candidate.
Sure.
And I love Trump, don't get me wrong.
Right.
Like, if it came down to it, I'm voting Trump.
Yes,
100%.
Me too.
But Vivek is an option, and he's a reliable and safe option because he's not part of that deep state. And when we were talking about this, it'll be on my show later today, but you should definitely, have you heard of ProTerra?
Not really. I've heard of it, but I don't know much about it.
ProTerra is the biggest Ponzi scheme, the pump and dump scheme that's happened like just last week. The federal government gave them $8 billion of taxpayer money, right? And it was an electric bus company. Biden supported it. Kamala supported it. The Department of Energy lady, she supported it. And guess what? She was also sitting on the board of ProTerra. They gave $8 billion U.S. taxpayer dollars. The buses sucked.
Shocking.
The buses caught fire in L.A. The batteries froze in Alaska, and they couldn't make up the mountains in Minnesota. Those are three huge pieces with electric bus because you have to go green.
Yeah.
$8 billion taxpayer dollars. They went bankrupt last week.
Well, not just that. I was watching something. Actually, no, we were. You guys were talking with the gentleman from Complete Auto Body. He said,
Curtis Sparks.
Yeah, Curtis. Yep. He said that if an EV is sitting in the parking lot for so many days, you have to quarantine it because the fire, the chance of fire on the batteries is
high. It's very, very high.
So
yes, isn't that interesting?
Well, and they also talk about the fact that these are good for the environment. Well, I mean, there's many TikToks or videos that a gentleman actually, I believe, on a TED Talk explained that, while the whole EV thing looks amazing and, from the start of whatever, when you buy the EV, you're saving the world. And
you're not saving the world.
No, because everything
cool
up to that point, it's actually doing more harm than good to the environment, and the environment really doesn't need us to begin with, but
correct.
Let's just play their game. It's doing so much damage before you even buy the car that you're behind the 8 ball. So you might as well just keep driving that gas powered car.
Yeah.
And the problem that I haven't heard any other candidate other than Vivek talk about is nuclear.
Oh, yeah.
You can't tell me that we can have nuclear powered aircraft, we can have nuclear powered submarines, nuclear powered aircraft carriers, and you can't make a small enough nuclear reactor to go into a car that's stable that can power a car.
Well, not just
and Vivek wants to explore nuclear power, which I think is huge when it comes to automobiles because lithium ion's not safe. They spend more carbon emissions making the lithium ion batteries by digging out the landmines than the car would give off in 60 years.
Well, not just that. What about where do you dispose of it?
You just dump it right back in the ground.
Yeah. Well, and it's like you were talking about the nuclear effect.
Yep.
There was one guy, and it might have even been Vivek, but they were saying how if you do a nuclear reactor and all that to even power a city, I think you could power a city the size of St. Louis with something nothing bigger than our tumblers, and then the amount of the stuff that's left from the nuclear reactive material can actually be used to power even more. So maybe the amount of energy that is used from the large reactor to power a city, maybe that can harness that into what you were saying is size it down into some kind of vehicle and maybe use it that way. Or, even they've been talking about hydroelectric or hydro power.
Hydrogen powered. Yeah.
And you have, I believe Ameren or the Aspire Gas Company, they actually have vehicles that run off of natural gas.
Yeah. Well, here's another one, which I don't know how much you know about the power grid up in New York City, but this is how they power New York City. I don't know if you know this. They grab all the trash.
Yes, they burn it
down. They bring it down because they can't burn it in New York. So they bring it down by barge to Pennsylvania. They burn it all there. And then the smoke spins turbines in the stacks and powers all of New York City with their trash. Why aren't the rest of the country jumping on board with this?
Right. Why are they keeping that a secret?
When we have to get rid of the trash anyway? So fill landfills, right? Or you could just burn it and have renewable energy forever.
Yeah. And people don't think about that because they're going on their daily lives. But that is a very good point. And that's why we need younger people. I know that my children are so much smarter than me, and so much, because my oldest one is 31 all the way down to 14. And they are very, very intelligent. And they need to get more involved because that's the next generation. Like you, I'm sure you know my son-in-law, he is a state rep now. And I really want people that are younger than me to get involved because you're going to be on this planet longer than us. But how do we get them, Wesley? How do we get them to not just be me? And I'm not making fun of millennials or Gen Zs. Everybody, even our age that are Gen Xers, when we were that age, we were no different. We just weren't maybe as woke, but we still just thought about ourselves, didn't worry about, the bigger picture, the broader picture. How do we bring the young people in to know we're in serious trouble here?
Well, so that's one, like you pretty much hit the nail on the head, right? You said that everyone just goes about their regular day.
Yes.
And that's why I always argue with people when I tell them, you're not a patriot. Well, what do you mean I'm not a patriot?
Mm-hmm.
Well, you're safe. And,
you're safe.
Well, of course I'm safe.
That's right.
You're safe because when it comes to the time to bear arms or to stop a tyrannical government, you will continue to go to your job while the rest of people like us have this job. You're not getting paid for this. I'm not getting paid. It costs me to have my show, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It costs me to bring my voice to speak for you guys or to speak to you guys.
Correct.
I want to speak directly to every single listener on my show to tell them it's okay to go out and talk about this stuff.
Yes.
When you stay silent, when you are scared of what your friends are going to think, how you believe, that is how we got to this point in this country.
Correct.
And there's no turning back. 2024 is the time. And Vivek said it perfectly just the other day in one of his interviews. He said, the revolution's upon us. It's a 1775 moment.
Yeah.
Right now it's 1775.
It is.
And it's just education is the best way to get to the younger generation, not woke education.
Correct.
Not the NEA, not the Department of Education. That's not the way you're going to get to them. Not going to college isn't how you're going to get to the younger generation. You have to physically either go out there and do it, or you have to step up and get off your couch and actually be a patriot. You have to fight.
You have to fight. And I agree. You can be anybody that's listening now, or many people listen to us, after the fact on all of our different platforms. Yep. What they have to do is mamas and daddies and grandmas and grandpas can be a part of this by speaking to the future generation. Like my granddaughter, I fortunately, her parents would allow me to do that, where I'm going to tell her the truth. I am going to tell her what a patriot is. I mean, her name is Liberty. So she has to understand, in order to live her life, her little life is a 1775 moment. We have to teach our next generation, even if they get a little pissed at us, because sometimes my kids will be like, Mom, enough. And I want them to go about their daily life and have good lives and be married and have great jobs and do all of that. But part of being an American is being privileged. That's every single person, not white privilege, not black privilege. If you are an American, you are still privileged. Now we're losing our freedom, and we're losing our freedoms really fast, but we're still privileged over everyone else. So in order to have that, they have to have what I call non-American guilt, because I think your generation has America guilt. You're guilted that you can't be a nationalist. You can't be you can't be prideful of your country. You've got people in other countries, Germany, Australia. You see them on TikTok look at those American flags. They are just so haughty with their American flags. Yes, we are. We're haughty. We're not humble about America, and people need to switch that. Like, oh, we need to be humble. Yes, you need to be humble, but not about America.
And it really doesn't matter their opinion, because we kicked their ass in both world wars.
Boom. Yes.
So,
yes.
I mean,
yes.
But I understand. I agree with you 100%. And the way the younger generation is going to get involved is when they want to step up. And I think the biggest So I always try to go back because, again, I studied constitutional law. American history is like what I do, and I'm trying to change that history going forward for my children.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the biggest issue started in the 1980s, right? 1989, I guess, whenever Reagan left office.
Right.
But the Department of Education got so big that they were able to delete history out of nowhere. So that my generation, they were able to just learn something that wasn't true.
Correct.
They were taught that this country was founded on racist principles.
Yes.
Which never happened. Slaves weren't even mentioned in the Constitution.
Mm-hmm.
The Three-Fifths Compromise only talked about non-free men specifically, and it's in the Constitution too, in Article 1, prisoners of war and Indians.
Yes.
Right? And out of the 56 original signers, right,
mm-hmm.
only 9 of them believed in slaves, and only 6 of them had slaves.
Correct.
The rest of them had to go hide in woods and hide their family. They were miserable, but they did something that was so crazy.
Bold.
Yeah. They changed the way the world believed.
Mm-hmm.
And their document that they drafted, right? So my son, he's named after James Madison because James Madison's my favorite founder by far.
That's awesome.
He was 26 years old when he drafted the Declaration of Independence, which Benjamin Franklin delivered, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the biggest thing is, not only was he the 4th president, but he was the father of the Constitution. And he specifically stood up in 1786 at the Virginia Ratification Convention with Sir Patrick Henry when he said, "Give me liberty and give me death." He fought for our individual rights. James Madison did. And that's how the first 10 amendments were added on to be our Bill of Rights.
So basically somebody your age
stepped
up
and did it. Yep. Because the older people at that time, the Federalists, the Anti-Federalists, right, the older generation weren't about that. They didn't believe in one federal power, which was so smart of them. And the younger generation believed that this federal power could work and benefit the people, but they were wrong back in 1776.
Mm-hmm.
Because now that same federal government that the older generation was saying was going to take too much power absolutely has. And it's not by elected officials.
Mm-hmm.
It's by bureaucrats that they put in power.
Correct.
The same bureaucrats that, again, when you go talk to about the deep state,
right?
The deep state is the corporations. It's corporate America.
Yes.
It's no longer about capitalism anymore or conservatism. It's all about the corporations who can pay for what they want.
It's all about
they create everything.
The mighty dollar.
They do. It is all about the dollar.
Yep.
And how do you get, someone your age, how can you tell us adults, you're an adult, but I mean, I'm an older adult that, I have adult children. How do you get, and this sometimes is people my age's fault. We don't want to offend our kids either because we raised our kids to be very bold, but yet not bold in talking about this, because then when our kids get upset, "Mom, don't talk about this anymore," and they walk out of the room, how do you get them to listen without being upset with us and actually getting something productive done?
I've lost lots of friends, right? Lots of friends, because I'll talk about it anywhere.
Me too.
I'll talk about it at church. I'll talk about it at a bar. I'll talk about it at Walmart.
Yeah.
He's walking around with a Trump shirt on.
Right.
We all know who he's voting for.
And we are speaking to the choir here. I'm somebody too that flies a humongous
It's not the choir. That's the thing.
You
got to go out. You got to get to the people who aren't part of our choir, which is what, when I ran for Congress, right, I went to all the meetings, all the caucus meetings, this, that, spoke at all these events, was down at CPAC, spoke, all kinds of stuff. I did all that, but it's preaching to the choir. So I'm not a patriot. If I'm talking to people who are also patriots, that doesn't make me a patriot. I need to go turn heads and talk to the leftists, which is why it works out perfect with having Gianna on here. She's not a leftist, but she doesn't believe in the same stuff that I would believe in.
And I think that's really great. That's what we need to do, is we keep speaking to the choir. I get that. And I love to speak to the choir because the choir still needs to be talked to. But we need to, and this offends some people in our choir, that we're reaching over the aisle just a little. And it's not that we're reaching so far left that we want to be progressive lefts at all. I am definitely a strong conservative patriot, but I'm starting to reach over the aisle knowing that some of them are going to be mad at me and don't talk to me. I've lost many friends when I voted for Trump, but now we're already here. We've already lost these friends. I want to reach over the aisle and talk to these people so they get involved and they understand what's happening.
No one can make an educated decision on their votes if, one, they don't study who they're voting for.
Correct.
And second, if they don't talk to the opposing views. We have to make it acceptable in this country for us to negotiate and work things out so we can come to one conclusion. Because voting half and half, like what happened in my election.
Yeah.
When I spoke to these people, they were like, "Oh, we love you. We love you. We think you should, run for office," which then I did. And then I still lost, but it's because we split the vote.
You split the vote. That's exactly what we do, especially Republicans.
And this is where it's really going to be a shocker. Only 22% of the voting populace here in Missouri's 2nd congressional district voted in the primary. The primary is the most important election. Mm-hmm. But whenever you tell people this, why aren't they voting? Because they're safe, because they're not patriots.
Right, they're safe. And there's 2 reasons they don't do that. Because there are some elections in the state of Missouri and all over, we're a national podcast. So no matter what state you're in, your local level, typically that primary is the most important. But when it comes to the presidential election, there's a caucus here in Missouri. And so it's always been an illusion of the truth.
Yep.
And it's even becoming more so now. They're going to come out and say, we're not even going to have a primary in our presidential election because they're already chosen by this caucus that they already have. So how do we explain that to some people that the primaries do still matter? It's probably just the presidential that we don't really have much of a choice on.
The primary is the most important election. By far, the general election doesn't matter for the most part. And the reason I say that is because for specifically this district, Missouri's 2nd district is an R+17, right? Mm-hmm. So a Republican's going to win.
Right.
But which Republican do you want?
Going to win.
Who's more conservative? Who's a speaker? You know, and I know me and you, we talked about it before. I'm not going to mention names, and I'm not running for Congress anymore, so it doesn't really matter. But if you're going to post 5 years later, build the wall.
Right.
Where were you 5 years ago?
Well, I will mention it. You don't have to.
I'll mention the names.
But it's Ann
Wagner needs to get off her ass and work.
It's Ann Wagner, and if Ann Wagner was right here, I would say, okay, there are so many people in our politics that people say that they're a rhino, but they're really not. They're just doing things that are within their lane. No, Ann Wagner is, I know that she is a rhino, and she's involved somehow with the deep state people. She doesn't give a hoot. She doesn't give a damn about any of us. I've met her on numerous occasions.
Yep.
And the first time I met her, she's like, "Oh, I haven't seen you in a long time." She's never saw me at all. She just plays this stupid game because somebody chose her.
Yep.
We need to find out who chose her because she's playing the deep state game. And Ann, if you were here, I would tell you that you don't care what your people think. Because if you're just now 5 years later talking about the wall, where the hell are you? And where are you now? Are you down at that wall? Are you down? That wall is wide open. Where the hell are you, Ann? So I will mention her, and every state has an Ann.
Oh,
every state has an Ann.
One or two,
or
more.
5 or 6.
Yes, or more than that.
Well, and it's interesting you were talking about. We're talking about Ann Wagner because I did see on Facebook the other day.
Yeah,
it was. I don't know if it was her post or whoever was posting, and it was some about what should we do about the wall. And I know my responses go nowhere.
Yeah,
but you know what? Hey, it's my opinion, and I'm going to put it out there. And my comment was, first of all, if you have to ask the question, you don't understand the answer to begin with.
Correct. And she doesn't
you're
understand.
Asking the question, you'll never get the answer.
Correct.
Because you don't understand it.
So, and when I ran for Congress, I started doing a lot of research on Ann, right? Because I was like, I have to know all the deets, right?
Right.
Details for the younger crowd.
Yeah. Well, because there are sometimes that people
did you say deets?
I said the deets, right?
The detail, but that is awesome. That is awesome.
I have high schoolers. I get all the.
I get that too. But
I still get abbreviations that I don't understand. I'm like, what? You say to me? And my kids, I have a 7-year-old, a 6-year-old, and a 2-year-old. So
I love it.
Anyway, so I had to get all the details about Ann.
The deets. Say the deets. I kind of like
all right,
that.
We'll go with the deets. But so I was like, Ann doesn't even show up to vote. On the House floor. No. She has a 73% absent rate, right? Which means she shows up 27% of the times. So if you only show up 27% of the times, why are we paying you $176,000 a year first? And then you said she's related to the deep state somehow, and I'll tell you exactly how. She sat on the board of the House Financial Services Committee, right, where she could deregulate banks and charge taxpayers more money in taxes. And those same people donated $2.3 million to her campaign. Yeah. The same banks that she deregulated through her connection with the FDIC. Right. And then she got a kickback through her campaign for the same amount of money.
Okay. Yeah. Say that again for the people in the back that still, some people have to vote for Ann, but somebody better's got to run against that chick.
Well, and I believe someone will. I believe that my future with politics is more of a pundit. than it is dealing with the actual political scheme, because more can be accomplished outside of politics than a representative can have.
Correct.
And so, as I say, we saw that when your son-in-law was here, he was talking about just local, how, and I apologize for interrupting,
you're good.
But in that situation with Justin, we were speaking about in Missouri how we have the that regular the personal property tax.
Correct.
And it was refreshing to see an actual politician
telling the truth.
Yeah, he even said, he goes, believe me, he goes, this is something that the Missourians of both sides want to get rid of, because it's taxation without representation. I mean, let's just say it what it is. And he even said, and I love the fact that he came out without beating around the bush, in a typical political term.
Yeah, he came right out.
He came out and said, hey, he goes, they block it.
They block it. And he was saying on that show too, that it's like they have to do income tax first. Yeah. Because if you don't lower the income tax first, they are going to block it, and then they'll add it onto your real estate tax. So there's things, but most politicians won't tell you the truth. Like, this is what we have to do first. We want personal property tax to be gone, but they'll block it. So we need to go with income tax first. That's the avenue, because there's a Missouri Constitution. Right. And there's also, every state has a constitution. So just because one state does it doesn't mean the other state can do it. So you have to we patriots have to really find the law, and we have to call out the quote rhinos, but the ones that are not rhinos, we need to stop going after them in such a mean, hateful way. We need to come alongside them and say, hey, what can we do to help? Because this fighting like this with our own is so counterproductive, and Republicans are so bad at doing that. We fight each other constantly. We need to get on the same page. And I know that that's just, a pipe dream. Well, that's a Snow White world.
That's a humanity issue, though.
Yeah, it is.
And it's why fight with the left? I mean, there's the fathers of this Constitution, right? Or this country. They disagreed on the majority of the topics. If you read the Federalist Papers and the Anti-Federalist Papers, but they knew that coming together was better for the country, or the soon-to-be formed country, than to sit here and fight. So they made compromises. And
compromises.
I'm a conservative, 100%. But there is things we can compromise on.
Correct.
And some of the stuff that goes on over there in the Missouri House, specifically the personal property tax, it's in the Missouri Constitution. If they were to repeal the personal property tax, they're going to add it on to another tax.
They are. I mean, that's in there, and that's what people don't know. And we have politicians, and I won't say the name.
Bill Eigel. I already know who you're talking about.
Okay. And a lot of people love Bill Eigel. Okay. And I don't dislike him personally, but he needs to come out and say the truth. And the truth is exactly what you said. And so I'm not saying people shouldn't vote for Bill Eigel, but Bill Eigel needs to not just run on this one ticket item. There is a Missouri Constitution, and you have to compromise. I'm not saying that we want to. We conservatives do not want to compromise, but if we don't get along in the sandbox, we're going to get nothing done. And so I want a politician, and I'm going to say this about Bill Eigel, and I hope he hears this. He won't come on the show anymore, because I'm going to ask him that question. And people know, and I've got friends that are on other talk stations, and he'll go there, but they won't ask that exact thing. Bill Eigel, you cannot just do that. So stop running on just that thing.
Well, I know he's running for governor.
Correct.
And what he's doing is throwing his actual supporters and friends under the bus by making it out to the Missouri constituents that Nick Schroer or Benjamin Brown or Mike Moon is what's holding up this personal property
and those
tax.
three are not doing that.
They're not. It's because it's in the Missouri Constitution that they cannot get rid of it unless it's replaced with another tax.
Correct. And those three men that you were talking about, I know that they're, at least one of them, Nick, who's wonderful. I'm a big advocate.
Love Nick.
Love
you, Nick.
Yeah, I love Nick. I absolutely adore him. His kid, I won't even say where our kids go to school, but they go to school together, and he's great. And he likes Bill too.
Yeah.
He likes him, but Bill is wrong here.
Yes.
Those three men are not holding it up. They're not. Bill is running because he wants to get elected. I'm not saying whether he should or he shouldn't. Him and both Jay are the most conservative of the two, but I found that Jay will come out and say, hey, this is the way it is. And a lot of us conservatives, especially far right, and I tend to be that way, we want what Bill's telling us, but Bill can't do what he's telling us.
Oh, absolutely. I agree. I like Bill personally.
I do too.
As a person. But the thing is, he knows he's wrong.
He does know.
So here's what happens in politics. Whenever you know you're wrong, you either double down or you backtrack.
Correct.
Backtracking
or you read a book on the floor.
Yes.
And you read a book for hours on the floor. And if any of you didn't know that, Bill read a book on the floor for 2 hours to filibuster the whole thing.
Yeah.
Because he was mad.
Yeah, exactly. But then he played it off like it was Nick Schroer's fault.
Correct.
And it wasn't. But yeah.
And Nick is still a great advocate of Bill and the fact that they're friendly. But I think you're going to start see a distancing if Bill keeps throwing Nick under the bus.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And he has been on the campaign trail. And it's actually, it's sad, kind of.
It is sad.
So here's the thing.
It hurts my heart that these good men, and I'm not going to say that Bill is not a good man. I don't know him as personally as I know Nick, but you want to get elected so bad that exactly what you said, you cannot throw your people under the bus. You can't do it.
And you have to admit you're wrong.
You have to admit you're wrong.
Did you ever wonder why these people want to get a job that only pays $30,000 a year?
Well, and it depends on who it is. And some of them work really hard, like Nick Schroer and my son-in-law, who get paid crackers, and they are both attorneys, and these men will be in Jeff City 1 minute and then driving all the way to their offices. One is in St. Charles County. My son-in-law is in Clayton, and they're back and forth, and they do so much. But you want to know why? Those two men do care.
It's because they understand.
But they also understand the law. And I'm not trying to tout lawyers, but often lawyers or someone in the military who understand law have to be the ones that have these jobs, because you can't just say, like, I don't know all the laws. I can talk about what I think about it, and I can investigate, but I'm not a lawyer.
Yep.
But I get down there in the trenches and I want to find out what is the truth. And I've offended a lot of conservatives by calling out Bill Eigel, because some people think he's the next Messiah, but he's lying to you.
Yes.
He's lying. And I'm glad you're here, Wesley, admitting that too. And you and I have no reason whatsoever to hate on Bill. And I don't hate Bill.
And I don't hate Bill either.
I don't hate Bill.
But as soon as you started talking about it, I automatically knew who you were talking about.
You knew it was. And I would like Bill to come on here, but he won't. But I would like him to come on here because I want him to say what he's going to do now to get elected, other than personal property tax, because that's not going to happen without the income tax first.
And so speaking about that, and this is to go off topic just a little bit.
There's never such thing as off topic here.
Yeah.
There's never thing.
Yeah.
Exactly what you're talking about, like how conservatives, they all have like this agenda in their head.
Yes,
that they think
me
they
too.
can accomplish.
Correct.
But it's not possible alone.
Correct.
You have to work with the left or the
You
Democrats.
You do.
And no other candidate has ever come out, in my opinion, than Vivek. He came out of nowhere, and then he just took over the show by, hey, we have to work with them. Hey, let's come up with something new. Why isn't Ron DeSantis talking about nuclear power or Trump? Trump is amazing. And like I said, I am voting for Trump.
Yes.
But these are questions now that are turning in my head. Like,
you got to ask the questions.
He can do this stuff. I don't know why we didn't think about this before, because I was so stuck on America First.
Me too.
I sit on the board of the America First PAC.
Yes.
So, and my whole reasoning for running for Congress was to help veterans. I didn't care.
Sure.
I'm not gonna lie. I didn't really care about the people. I was going to do what I wanted to fight for. I was obviously a conservative.
Yes, I understand
I'm going to fight for that. But my biggest thing was for veterans. And the problem is all the veterans that go up to Washington, they get bought out.
Well, very much so.
And that's why I said when I ran, I'll donate all my money back to the country who gave me everything. They gave my kids everything. But we have such a disconnect. And I want to give you one quote real quick. President Abraham Lincoln said, "A nation that does not honor its heroes will not long endure." Our heroes are in trouble.
Very much so.
And our country is in trouble because of those heroes. And what I mean by that, I'll give you a couple numbers real quick. From the Department of the Veterans Affairs, right? 54% of Afghan Iraqi war vets have trouble adapting to civilian life. I'm one of them.
Mm-hmm.
Out of that, 72% self-medicate with drug and alcohol abuse.
Right.
Vietnam vets, 23% had trouble adapting to civilian life. So we're over double what Vietnam vets were. And they're like, well, the wars were so completely different. Well, here's what was different. The government pushed propaganda, right, to benefit Vietnam vets. But the American people didn't buy it.
Right.
In Afghanistan, they pushed propaganda against the vets. And the American people said, we're here to stand with our veterans. So here's the biggest problem. The federal government gave up on us, Iraq and Afghanistan war vets. This is their solution to fixing our issues. here's some lithium.
So
here's some pain medicine.
You're the throwaway soldier.
We are the throwaway. And then when we speak out about stuff that we did in Afghanistan, then now we're villainized. So that's why I tell people the veterans, once our veterans get taken care of from our federal government, which Trump was doing a good job. He didn't accomplish much, but he did try to help veterans get better care than the VA.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he needed 4 more years to do that.
Yes.
So Wesley, tell us about what you're doing starting this evening, and tell us a little bit about how you can find it, and a little bit. You told us already about Gianna, but when does it start and where can you find it?
So we'll be live on Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok. I know most of you guys don't use TikTok.
I
but
do.
If you do.
Well, you know what I've learned about TikTok? A lot of conservatives do not like TikTok, and I do understand that. But here's my take on TikTok: is a really easy platform to use.
Yep.
We don't use it nearly as much as we should, but a lot of people say because China owns TikTok. China owns all the platforms, guys.
Yeah.
They own them all. So if you're even on FB, and I say that, maybe Rumble isn't in truth, but most of the rest of them are all owned by a Chinese entity anyway.
China owns 25% of Missouri.
They do. That
Thanks
people
to
don't
Eric Schmidt.
understand that. So I don't know.
Eric Schmidt sold 338,000 acres to Smithfield Farms, which is owned by China.
Yep.
Which, by the way, they just sold 9 of their farms in Missouri. So
As I say, those were the hog,
another pump and dump
the
scheme.
hog farms.
Yep.
Just got rid of 9 of them.
They
So-
got
Big.
They got who? So
Big.
Smithfield got rid of them.
Smithfield got
right?
rid of them. Yeah.
So correct me if I'm wrong, but the new way of farming animals is not on an actual farm with grass and all the rest
That
of that.
makes me
No,
so.
it's a warehouse.
It's a warehouse.
In cities.
It's a warehouse.
It's a warehouse.
Yeah,
It's a
it makes
warehouse
me
in cities.
so sad.
It's disgusting. It's disgusting. But
Yeah.
so you can find us on TikTok, YouTube, and Facebook. Facebook, it's the Wolf of Washington, and then it's the Wolf and Gianna on TikTok and on YouTube.
Great. And so you'll be able to see that starting this evening, and you're going to be doing on Mondays and Thursdays.
Mondays
correct?
and Thursdays at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time.
Are you
Very
going to
good.
be live on TikTok or is
Live on TikTok.
Very good.
Ooh.
Well, hey, Joe, I know before Vic left, he left a couple videos that just put up a video, and then we'll talk about it afterwards. And you guys say, what you think about the videos that Vic left. Okay, so play whichever one you got.
Also, I sent that picture of the beer fridge.
You guys said, you know what? They're going to just think we're big old alcoholics.
I'm not an alcoholic.
Me
Alcoholics
either.
go
I
to
don't even drink
meetings.
that much. But I
I
just want
drink.
people to. Yeah, I do, but not that much. But I want to have it there for anybody that
You got to remember,
have it.
I-
Yeah.
my parents told me never be a quitter, so why should I quit now?
Well,
and alcoholics go to meetings.
Oh, well, okay, there. All right. Okay, Joe, play us a video. Here it comes. Okay. All right, here we go. See what you think about this, guys.
I watched this.
I've seen this one. Yeah.
Okay, watch this one.
Never denied the outcome. And I do have one very affirmative statement to make. We won. But I didn't lose. I got the votes. But we won't know exactly how many because of how they cheated. I did win my election. I just didn't get to have the job. We were robbed of an election.
Using the word rigged, using the word steal, do you think it's dangerous going into 2020?
I don't, because we can actually back it up. And so in response to what I believe was a stolen election, and I'm not saying they stole it from me, they stole it from the voters of Georgia. I spent the interim 10 days between the election and my non-concession day, as we call it. In fact, someone outside asked if I'm ever going to concede. The answer is no. It was not a free and fair election. I think the election was stolen from the people of Georgia. I believe it was stolen from the voters. I just said it can't happen again. Thousands of Georgians had their voices stolen because they were not able to cast ballots, and they cannot be guaranteed that their votes will be counted in 2020 if we don't do this right. I said that the election was stolen from the Georgia voters. If it looks like it's cheating, it probably is. If it looks like it's rigged, it probably is. The process that took place during the legislative cycle was one that did not countenance and did not pay attention to the deep and real concerns of those who watched this election be stolen in the state of Georgia. It was stolen from the voters of
Okay,
Georgia.
you can cut that, Joe, because it just keeps going on and on and on and on about that. And, I asked the listeners on the chat line, what do you think about her? And of course, Mary, I love Mary's comments, immediately is barf. I mean, does it make your stomach want to throw up because she can say it, but Trump can't say it?
Isn't this what they're indicting Trump in
Right.
Georgia for?
And could it be the same state even?
It's the same exact situation.
Yeah.
Why aren't they indicting her?
Right.
Yeah.
Why
Well,
aren't they?
But they're going off the phone call that he had with the director of the election.
Correct,
I'm trying to think of what his name was. Something Roth's.
Yeah.
Whatever.
But we get it. I mean, that just shows you the hypocrisy that the right has compared to the left. Okay, Joe, another video. But yeah, it just shows you the absolute hypocrisy that we conservatives, Republicans have to deal with.
Oh, wait, can I answer one of these comments real quick?
Of course, please do.
Aaron, he said, wait, so you're mad about Chinese farms, but you're okay with TikTok. And what I want to explain to you, Aaron, is I'm mad about TikTok too.
Me too.
However, when we go back to being a patriot and how you get the message out to all of our generation, our generation's on TikTok. So I have to use TikTok. It's not because that's what I want to do, but that will help with viewership, specifically with the younger generation who's already scrolling through their phone around that time.
Yeah.
So it's not about me like supporting TikTok.
Yeah. And I agree with Aaron about that. I don't want to support any of these platforms, but it's an echo chamber. If you're just on Rumble, and I love Rumble, don't get me wrong. I love it. Rumble and Truth, and I love Truth. I'm on both of them, but everybody likes the easiest platform, a lot of people think, is Facebook or TikTok. And so we have to be where the people are because we have to gain more patriots and also speak to the patriots too, because we got to stick together.
And that's what I hope for with my show is like, hey, me and Gianna opposing views, but we're sitting here having this conversation.
Yes, I'm glad
you
you're
can have
doing
this
that.
conversation too. And if that's on TikTok, it's on TikTok. If it's on Rumble, Facebook, YouTube, it's wherever they are.
Well, it's like you said, that's where the generation that we're trying to touch is.
They're
on
there.
TikTok.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Okay, Joe.
Thank you, Scott.
It's creepy Joe.
Thank you. Please, thank you. I think your patience today exceeds your good judgment, but thank you. And I want to say one thing to your children. I know some really great ice cream places around here. And
oh my
Daddy
gosh.
owes you.
Want some candy?
Right?
Folks, thanks for the introduction, and Scott, thank you very much. You know,
He's the same person that you tell your kids to watch out for the ice cream truck. And if you get ice cream off the ice cream truck, make sure you're standing right there. He's the creepy guy that drives the ice cream truck. I mean,
if he was in my subdivision, I would be scared for my kids.
Me too. Me too.
I'd say they should repaint the limousine white, and instead of saying,
Right?
"Can you help me find my puppy? Would you like some ice cream?"
Yes. I mean, just when you think he can't be any creepier. I know my husband had a talk with his dad yesterday about him. And, and I want to mention some people in the family, not my father-in-law, but there's some people in the family that they just will not vote for Trump because he tweets and stuff. So then my husband was like, okay, but what do you think about Creepy Joe? And he does all of these creepy things and was showing him like there's more than one and showing the ear and all that. And it's because people of even older than us, they just believe the mainstream media. And when you bring them, and that's what I know you're trying to do, Wesley, when you bring them with facts in love and in kindness, they start to go, wow, there's 2 Joe Bidens and he might be with an earpiece.
3 or 4.
Yeah. There could be 3 or 4.
Or he could just be one of the extraterrestrials.
Exactly. He could be. Yes, he could be getting right off that UFO.
Which is other stuff. Like that's the point of our podcast is we're going to talk about the politics.
Yes.
But we're also going to talk about other things and reaction videos, stuff like that. It's supposed to be fun, and we're hoping that it'll make it fun for the younger crowd. Hey, politics ain't that bad, but politics control everything in your life.
Correct.
From where you can go, what you can do, where you work, everything's controlled by politics.
In your school.
Yeah.
Yes. And we have
where your kids go to school.
Where your kids go to school. And speaking of that, like where my kids go to school now, and I know when I was younger and even my older kids, there were not police officers that had to stand in the schools. Now, my younger one, I tell her that police officers are your friends. And when you see them, they're keeping you safe. And our police officers just get beaten. I think, Joe, don't we have one video left about that? If you could play the video and we can talk about the police officers.
She got a gun, yo. Yo, chill, son.
First off, she's jaywalking.
Yes, she is. She's breaking the law.
Sorry, I shouldn't be.
I'm sorry, I have to laugh. And basically, setting this video up is.
Yo, that's crazy.
Here.
That's crazy.
And these are just the little things our police officers have to do. And so she she had been doing so much to him beforehand. And, the police officers have to deal with this kind of stuff, running away from you. And then the police officer, all they can do is just kind of barely try to bump him to knock him down, because that was a defiant jaywalker is what that was.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. And you guys have all seen other things. It's all the time.
I just see.
That was the best part.
Yeah, what the F did I just see? And that, that's a great way to actually almost sum up the show, is our life has been, what the F did we just see? I mean, it's day after day. It's like, what the F? What in the F kind of a world are we living in? And we're the same way. This is Cancel This. And tomorrow, please tune in. It's going to be great. We're going to have Kelly Mano. If she's gotten out of the License Bureau, she'll be here in the second hour. And we'll also have Eric Johnson, who is one of the co-hosts, that he took just a little bit of a, he needed to decompress a few things. He was here last Friday. We're going to start seeing him on Fridays and hopefully seeing him more. And I'm thinking the second hour, I'm going to be able to just sit back tomorrow and watch the sparks fly between Kelly and Eric and Vic, and I'll just be going, what the F just happened here? And I will be looking forward to a free-for-all Friday. And is there anything before we wrap this up you two guys want to say?
As I say, I'll let you get the first word and I'll take the last, if that's fine.
Hey, I appreciate you guys having me on. I appreciate you guys having the studio and allowing me to rent it so that way we can have our show here too. And I hope that we can help you guys' show and our show at the same time.
Yes, and vice versa. And that is, if anyone, we have a network called Renew Media. If you have something that you want to say and you want to rent the studio, you can contact me or Vic, and you can do our emails, and it's Lizzie@cancelthisshow.com or Vic@cancelthisshow.com. Or a lot of people just, private message me on Facebook, and that's fine too. And if you got my text, that's great. And we're going to let Derek close out the show.
So everybody, we've been talking about merchandising. You see all the wonderful things that have been displayed all over the desks and everything. Last night, I don't know, 11:30 or so. Late night. I was
night.
I was perusing my YouTube like I normally do. So I'll definitely be hitting you up, Wesley, and watching that on YouTube. But was putting some stuff on the Shopify. Getting the merchandise kind of lined up. It's still got some bugs to work out, so we get it all ready. But the steps to get the merchandise is getting closer and closer every day to get on the website. So be on the lookout for that. Hopefully, I'd say probably within the next week, we should get all the bugs. Still waiting for some of the ladies hats to come in.
Well, and you have to. I'm going out with a listener and a friend this evening, and she already even said on the chat line she needs one of those hats.
And I apologize. It's one of those things where it's
took longer to get in and to work out all the kinks. We're still a relatively
we're still trying to find
show.
that. Well, we're still trying to find that right piece.
Yes.
We want to bring something that is not overpriced, but still in that budget area to where we're not asking you to pay $45.
So you're not trying to sell your things with Bidenomics?
It doesn't work.
It doesn't work.
It doesn't work.
But
look on the I believe it's going to be on the website, is going to be a link eventually to the Shopify, but we'll also have it on all the social media platforms to find where you can get some amazing Cancel This merch.
I cannot wait. And Derek is great at that. I know I'm going to be ordering one of his cornhole sets real soon.
Speaking of cornhole set, I know you guys were talking about it, and yes, Ben has placed an order for the cornhole set, and it has been approved on the design. So
I love it.
We should be getting that in the next couple weeks. Also.
I love it. And so you'll be able to find the merch on cancelthisshow.com, where you can also find all the platforms, the audio, the listening, even after the show. Please take today's show so we can promote Wesley and we can promote Derek's items as well. And so that's it for today. And come and see us tomorrow for Free for All Friday.
Free for All Friday with Kelly Mano and
Eric Johnson.
Happy day, guys.